I wanted to go through exercise 9.1 with everyone, the Scrabble tiles, because there seems to be some confusion. There was a large percentage that missed this option. So down here in the hints/suggestions, it says remember that you should have the tile class defined in tile.java and the main method belongs in a separate file. So what they're talking about there is that if I go over to the Scrabble file and I go under my source packages and I go down, so you can see I have scrabble.java and tile.java. So I have two separate class files. The scrabble.java is my main, and so if I click on here, you can see that I have it's in my main class and it has my main method inside, and it also has another method inside it. And then the tile.java is the one where this is my tile class, and this is where I am declaring my instance variables. I have my constructor in here, and then I also have the print method inside here. So I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to create this. So what you would end up doing is you're going to add a new project. So you can either do File, New Project, or the plus here. And you're going to go Java Application, just like you normally do. And down here, I had posted another video about this, but I think some of you missed it, where it says create main class. So we always create the main class. That's what we've been doing, and now we're going to create additional classes. So for this one, I'm going to call it, they wanted it to be called Scrabble, but I already have one, so I'm going to call it Scrabble Test. Excuse me. And some people, if you wanted, you could just delete this out and call it main if you wanted to have it. I'm just going to keep it as Scrabble Test. I'm going to hit finish. So then you can see right here that this is my main method. So it automatically puts in so my main class, it automatically puts in a main method. So I need a second method. I need a tile method. So I just go back up here and I right click and I say I want a new Java class. And this time I want it to be called tile. So I type tile, everything else is pre-populated, and then I click finish. So now I have my two classes inside my one project. Okay, so let's go back to the directions. So it says here, write a definition for a class named tile that represents, so as soon as you see a class named, then you know you need multiple classes. You always need to have your main class, and usually that's going to it's going to be created first when you do a new project, and it's going to grab the name of your project. And then you have to make other classes. So this one is a class named tile that represents Scrabble tiles. So the instance variables should be a character named letter and an integer named value. So it tells you the types of the variables that you need, and the difference between an instance variable and what we've been doing up to this point is these get declared at the top. So if we go back in and we go to my Scrabble, we go into the source packages. So this is so this is all happening in the tile class, so I apologize, I went to the wrong one. So right here, right underneath the class opening, we're going to put in here it just explains what instance variables are. I pulled this right out of the book on page 105. So they're declared at the beginning of the class definition outside of any methods. And so that way we're able to use them in all methods inside of our class. So it gave us in the directions the type, so character, so we put char and then the name it wanted. So it's declaring the exact same way, so we're used to that. So that should have been fairly simple for everybody. And then we go back, so that one's done, so I'd put a check on there. Write a constructor that takes parameters named letter and value and initializes the instance variables. Okay, so parameters, we know about parameters. It's the same thing, we're just applying them to a new type, which is an object. So we have these constructors that we're creating, and we need to have a letter parameter and a value parameter. We already know that the letter is a character, right? And we know that the value is an integer. And we want to initialize the instance variables. So that means we're just gonna initialize, means we're setting a value. Let's go back to see what that looks like. So here we go. So this is a constructor with parameters. Page 106 in the book has a model, so you can read about it beforehand. You can look, so you should go back in and always look what the book's doing. And notice when you create a constructor, there's no void, there's no class. It's just public and then the name. And these are the parameters. So we're taking in a character named letter and an integer named value. And then the format is you do this dot letter, and we're setting it equal to, so this new letter is going to be equal to the parameter that people send, and then value. I apologize for my dogs. And the value is equal to value. And so that's all you have to do for that one. And I'm going to scroll down, and my dogs are not behaving. And so now we're going to write a method named print tile that takes a tile object as a parameter. So again, parameters, you can take any different type. You can take objects. So the object is going to be a parameter, and it's going to print the instant variable in some reader-friendly format. So we have to say something that, you know, the letters, value, whatever you want to say. So we're going to just take a peek back. So here's our print tile, and this one looks more like, because it's not a constructor, the way you can tell the constructors is because of that, you know, just having two things in it. And down here we have the public static void print tile. And the tile is going to be, it's going to come in as a parameter. And we're going to call it my tile, is just what it's going to be called here. You can call it anything you want. You can call it new tile, Scrabble tile, whatever you want. And notice that if it's an object, see how it's in uppercase? So then it's a print line statement, just like you're used to. And wow, it's concatenating, just like you're used to. So tile letter, and then it's going to be plus. So this is the name, my tile, is coming from here. So that is what we called this particular object. We're calling this object my tile. You can, again, call it whatever you want. Dot letter is up here. So the tile object is made up of different parts. So, for example, if you had, let's say I made an object called a person. What kind of, you know, attributes would we need? Well, we would need probably, you know, we would have information about their hair, about their eyes, probably about their sex, mouth, teeth, maybe they have braces or no braces. So there's all those different attributes that make up that particular object. That's what we're doing here. So a Scrabble tile only has two things about it. Everything else is identical. The only two distinguishing characteristics in a Scrabble tile is the letter that's printed on top and then the value of that letter. So you always put the object name and then dot those attributes that you define in the constructor. So you defined, you know, letter, and down here is value. So it's going to say the tile letter, and it's going to, whatever that letter is in that variable is going to go here. And then down here has a tile value of, and so again, whatever's being held in this section in the value part of the my tile object is going to print here. All right, so let's go back to the directions. So we've done that. And now we have to just test it, because we can't test it yet. So this is one of those things I always say, you have to test as you go. You can't really test quite yet until this part. So this is a really small program. So now you have to write a method named test tile in your main class, not in the tile class. So it tells you exactly where it goes. That creates a tile object with the letter Z and the value of 10, and then uses a print tile to print the state of the object. So this, when it says uses print tile, so that means we're going to have another method. So we're going to have two methods. We have the main method, plus we have to have a print tile method. So let's again see what that looks like. So I'm going to go back. So in my main method here, or my main class, in my main method, I'm just calling test tile, because I'm just trying to test that my tile class is working. And down here is the method that I made to test it. So tile is capitalized here, and so that's just saying we're going to call the tile class, and we're going to make a tile, and it's going to be equal to a new tile. So this right here, this tile here, is just our variable name, that tile. We're going to create a new tile, and we have to pass parameters. Remember that the constructor wanted a character. So do you see that's in single quotes? That's because we're sending a character. And so if it was asked for a string, then I'd put double quotes. And then this is our integer value, so it has to be a whole number. So I send it down. And then I'm going to, in the tile class, I'm going to use the print tile method, and I'm passing as a parameter this tile object that I just created. So this line of code creates the object, a new tile object, and I am titling it tile. And then this line of code is just calling the print tile method from within the tile class, and I'm passing the object of tile. So that should print what was in the print tile method. And then I just did a second one. I did not check to see the Scrabble value of a B, but I just put a B because that's the beginning letter of my nickname. And I just said it was worth 9 because I wanted to change the value. And then I'm going to print the tile. So I'm doing the exact same thing. The only difference is, do you see up here when I first created, so this is, I'm creating the object for the first time. So this is just like a new variable. This is, I'm creating the variable for the first time, so I have to give the type. So this is an object, so the object type. So down here, this object tile already exists. So this should be very familiar based upon what you've been doing thus far. So I can't create it again. If I put tile space tile equals new tile, that wouldn't work because this tile variable name for the object already exists. So now I'm just changing the value. So let's see what it looks like when we run. Okay, so tile letter Z has a tile value of 10, and tile letter B has a tile value of 9. So maybe I'd want to go back in and add a period at the end, so that's the only thing that maybe, because this looks like a full sentence. But other than that, you can do any type of phrasing that you want, but again, that's all going to be in your tile class. So if you have any questions, definitely send me a message. You should work on fixing this and submitting it. So everyone that did it on time can redo for full credit. Anyone that hasn't done it yet can do it for the partial credit, depending on when you get it done. Good luck, and post to the catch-up if you have any questions.